Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. It is the fourth round, and we arrive at the home of endurance racing. It is none other than the Circuit de 24 du Mans. It is Le Mans, of course, in France. 8.4 miles of wonderful back roads here in France, and the home of endurance racing. As I said, this will be a perfect track to send these cars around, these LMP1s and LMP2s. And we had a fantastic round, of course, last time out at Road America. Leonard Rard finally able to convert his pole into a victory, but we're going to see now how the guys are going to get on in this hour-long race at Le Mans. My name's Jack Canal. Alongside me is Dane Baird, and of course Marco Barbonero, as always, running the cameras for us up in the booth. Dane, everyone loves Le Mans. I mean, it's the perfect track for these cars, the LMP1s and LMP2s. They've got so much space to breathe, and I think it's probably going to. I'm not going to say less chaotic, but it's definitely going to be a race that these guys are going to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. I thought everybody loved Le Mans until we were talking with our producer Marco Barbonero, who apparently doesn't like the circuit, which I don't understand at all. It's one of my favorites in the world, never mind just on iRacing. But yeah, LMP1 and LMP2, Le Mans prototypes, they're quite literally built for this circuit. So the cars will be in their element, the drivers I'm sure will be too. Perfect track for these cars, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it with the Mulsanne straight as well, and other straights around the circuit, good for overtaking too, so we should have a good race.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you're unfamiliar, of course, we have some different classes, of course. Normally, we have the LMP1 Pro and AM, and we also have the LMP2 Pro class and AM class, which will be following all the way through this, of course. As we see, of course, now Liam Rance, he was the winner in round number 1, all the way back at the start of the championship in the AM category. Hasn't been able to pick up a win since, but he's obviously going to be wanting to pick one up now as he heads through the Mulsanne. Of course, the longest straight on this circuit. Of course, back in the day, there wasn't even a chicane in it. It was just basically straight line all the way until you get to the Mulsanne corner. So here's your championship standings as it stands heading into this round. It's Alex Salmon at the top on 114, and you can see Leonard Rard and Lewis Woods are tied on 88 apiece. Then, of course, Mark Hutchison on 76, Hugo Valentin and Ismail Yakubu in P6, but Alex Salmon out in front by a pretty healthy margin in the LMP1 Pro category. And of course, there is the amateur categories by LP1, and Mateusz Drozda leading that one ahead of Daniel Civizalbo. 90 points he sits on. Of course, remember last week it was the last minute run to the finish with one driver running out of fuel on the way to the line. So there's still plenty to play for there, only 12 points in it. Lucky Brown sits third on 84, Flavio Figuccio on 59, Arias Imantis on 53, and Matt James on 5 at the bottom of the championship. Now, LMP2 Pro, I mean, it's pretty clear who's at the top right there. It's Michele Costantini. He's won every single race thus far, all 3 rounds. Maciej Mlinek on 86 and Jakub Widerka on 85. Behind, so the 2 teammates are next to each other in the championship. Then Matteo Graziano on 69 and Arkadiusz Neumann top 5 there on 67. Then Mark Sweethoff, Kalistani, Bucher, Skorupski, Tom McMahon. There's a big old scrap in the midfield there. There's 3 points. There's 3 drivers on the same point score, 53. Then James Holman, then Bailey, Hutcherson, Cavido, Bell, Toynison, Aguirre, and Pennington. You can see, of course, we mention it every week, the P2 Pro and the P2 AMs, they have the most cars in it. Tim Perry leads the P2 AM standings by 10 points over Kevin Kittelman. Remember what happened last week with Kevin Kittelman taking the win in the dying 2 laps after Tim Perry made a mistake, but either way, Tim Perry still leads the standings. Alex Moore, 10 points back from him on 80, and Michael Seal on 76 in P4 and 69 for Charles Collignon. But Dane, it's still pretty close across the fields. There's apart from P1 Pro, I think everyone still has a good chance at taking the title here. I mean, there's only 12 points between P1 AM and the next driver, and as well P2 Pro is P2 AM, sorry, is very close, only 10 points and 20 points between the top 3. So still a lot to work out. And we can see now, I'm amazed at the qualifying here, Dane. Look at the gaps between Moore and Kittelman, for example. A couple of hundred separating them around an 8-mile lap. I mean, that's basically centimeters.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really long circuit, so the gaps would be, you would expect, slightly higher than we normally see, but yeah, very small gaps still between most of these drivers. They do have a second lap, of course, which I believe a few of the drivers might be heading out onto now, and depending on how quickly the LMP1 drivers got out onto the circuit, they might even have a crack at a third. It would be pretty difficult for them to get that in. However, I think Alex Salmon might just about have enough time, as Woods goes on to provisional pole for LMP1 Pro. But only 3 minutes left, so I don't think anyone will be able to start a new lap and then make it all the way back around again, as Yamantis goes on to provisional pole in P1 AM and instantly beaten by Brown.
Yeah, Lucky Brown, 3 minute 8.6. He goes 7/10 faster than iRacing. Mantis puts himself third overall, actually. It's a good effort. Lewis Woods 8/10 ahead of Leonard Raart. We're on board with Jakob Vidurk as he flings it over the curbs, gets it on the power as early as he can, runs for the line, and he's on pole in P2 Pro, and he goes even faster again and goes to the top of the standings. And Kevin Kittleman goes to pole in P2 AM, ahead of Liam Rance by just 2/10 of a second. So very close across the field here in this late stage of qualifying. Tim Perry goes to third in his class, 4/10 off pole. And then we just wait now for a couple more. Matteo Calistani comes across the line P2 Pro. He goes into 11th in class. Maciej Mlinek goes to P2, 10th of a second back from Jakob Vidurk. And again, just a couple of hundredths behind him is Bucher in P3. So less than a second separating your top 5 around Le Mans is very, very impressive stuff from the guys here. As we see here, this is Arias Yamantis in P2 in class. And you can see now, yeah, so basically exactly a second separate the top 6 in the P2 Pro category, which is very impressive for these guys. James Holman across the line, and don't think he managed to improve his position. He won't get a chance to improve again, so he will stay in P8 in class. But it looks like Kevin Kittleman might secure his first pole of the year. So good stuff from Kevin. As we see Zeb Toyneson, he's just finishing out a lap right now, runs over the start finish, and he of course does not. Oh, he pops up to P4, so he gets himself 4th in class in P2 Pro. Now, of course, we don't have our championship leader in P2 Pro, so we're going to get a new winner in that this week, which is always nice to see. Might help out. But yeah, just looking at the gap in P2 AM, Dane, 600 between Kittleman and Marikal for that pole position, so that's going to be definitely the class to watch today.
Absolutely, and in third is Liam Rance. Now, I believe he actually has a pit lane start penalty, which means he shouldn't actually be qualifying. So there is a penalty for that. So if I'm correct on that, then he's been a bit of a naughty boy. But actually now, there he goes, up into, that would be a pole for P2 AM. So there goes Rance with a very, very good lap indeed, 3:27.7. Now, Salmon, I said he might finish his lap. He's got 10 seconds left. I think he will. Let's see what he can do. He hasn't got any purple sectors, but across the line he comes. In the final sector was purple, and he moves himself up into third.
Oh, he was flinging it through that last sector there. He gets himself up to third, so good effort for our championship leader. But it's Lewis Woods who secures a pole position overall in the P1 Pro category. So we've got ourselves a good race lined up tonight, certainly. So for those of you unfamiliar, of course, we have a 1-hour race here at Le Mans. So which means, of course, there is a pit stop, mandatory pit stop in this one as well. So here is qualifying for P1 Pro. Have a look at that gap. Lewis Woods by a 10th of a second over at Leonard Raart. He secures his first pole of the season. So Alex Salmon, championship leader, is third. Hugo Valencine at home in France, and number 17 is fourth. Mark Hutchison is fifth. Ishmael Akuba did not set a time, but he is in the session nonetheless, but less than a second between the field. P1 AM then, Lockie Brown on pole position ahead of Arias Yamantis. Mateusz Drozda is third. He's the championship leader. Of course, Flavio Facuccio, Daniel Civizalbo, and Matt James. Of course, no time set by those. P2 Pro, then have a look at this super close stuff. Jakub Viderka secures his first pole of the season ahead of his teammate Maciek Mlinek, Daniel Bucher, Zeb Toyneson and Arcadius Neumann. Look at that, all RLR Abruzzi Esports cars in the top 5 right there. Matteo Graziano and Christoph Skorupski, Mark Sweethoff, James Holman and Bruno Aguirre, Ivo Laubscher, Luke Pennington, Ryan Littlemore, Matteo Calistani, Matty Chambers, Julian Bell, and then Van der Berg and David Ward with no time set, and Brian Cavito with no time sets. A couple of them probably with bans. And P2 AM. Then this was a very close fought field. It's going to be definitely the one to watch. We're just getting the results up now. Here we are. Liam Rance on the pole. We think he might have had a quali ban, so we don't know. He might get in trouble after that. But Kevin Kittleman in 2nd, Jason Maracal in 3rd, and Tim Perry, championship leader, in 4th. Alex Moore is 5th, and Craig Jones, Jackson Bell, Jaus Baumeister, Marcel Leclerc, and Michael Seal. David Nichols, Nathan Healy in 12th, Lee Ballmer, Jonathan Keane, Shane Dunn, Corey Edwards, and Ryan Eppringham in 17th place. There you can see, yeah, Liam Rance, indeed you were right. He does have a pit lane start, so we're going to see now the guys roll off. And Dane, it's nice to see the pace truck out here at Le Mans.
Yeah, you don't often see that. Usually reserved for the dirt events and occasionally in IndyCar, but yeah, you don't often see it. And you can see pretty big truck, LMP1 cars. They normally look fairly big, but they're actually very small. It's a weird trick that the windshield plays on your eyes, and you can see just how small they are when you compare them to the pace truck.
Yeah, that pace truck is going to eat them alive. Just some interesting information, of course, coming in from the live chat. Thank you all for chiming in as well. Hugo Valentin, P4. He's actually from Le Mans, so this is literally his home that he's racing around. So good to see. Let's see if he can win at home. Be nice stuff. But so that, of course, Liam Rance, he does have a pit lane start, so it will be Kevin Kittleman on the pole. There's actually loads of people with pit lane starts at the moment. We see Ishmael Yakubu has got one, and a couple of others, but we certainly we're going to have Kevin Kittleman on the pole for P2 AM. But look, okay, Lewis, don't going to become the pace truck as we ride on board with this. Lewis Woods is getting impatient behind the pace truck. He wants to. Well, that was a perfect demonstration, Dane, of how small the LMP1s are compared to the truck. It just ate it alive coming through the Porsche curves. But we're going to wait to see now.
Straight under it.
Yeah, almost perfect fit with that Audi R18 with this gigantic pace truck. But here we go, it's going to peel off to the right hand side very shortly. We're going to get this 4th round of the championship underway here at Le Mans, with Lewis Woods will control this pace with Leonard Raerts, last week's winner in the Porsche, right behind him. Here they come. Of course, the pit lane entry is quite tricky around here in this one. So here we go. They're going to go single file through the last chicane, and Lewis Woods will get us underway here for 1 hour of racing at Le Mans. And he will wait until he gets to the restart zone, and we go green here at Le Mans. So well done to Lewis Woods there, kept it nice and calm. And the guys behind now got file out in P1 AM as well. Lucky Brown hanging on to the lead there. Alex Salmon moving up into 3rd overall as he tries to fight off Lucky Brown at the same time. But good start from Lewis Woods. Mateusz Drozda moving in front of Diamantis for 2nd in class there. Back to the P2s. We're going to have Jakub Viderka get us underway now for the P2 category. Here we go then at Le Mans. Careful now, lads, as they come through. It's going to get a little bit stacked up here. They have to wait for the restart zone. Viderka will control it as they come up to the start-finish line. Look at all those cars as they come across the start-finish. And away they go. Viderka is slow away, and through goes Maciek Mlinek immediately. And he takes the lead. Bucher moves to 2nd. Toyneson up to 3rd. Viderka just did not get away. I wonder if he just let his teammate through there and what, but terrible getaway from him. And it's Maciek Mlinek who now leads ahead of Bucher and Toyneson. And it seems to be all clean from everybody there. But Lewis Woods, Leonard Raerts and Alex Salmon are away, and Lucky Brown's going with them as well. Impressive stuff from the P1 AM, man.
Absolutely. Now we're going to go side by side. That's Brown side by side with Salmon. Brown obviously leading P1 AM as Leonard Raerts just disappeared on my screen for a moment, but he has got the inside line for the 2nd of the Mulsanne chicanes, and he does make that move stick. But in the Porsche, I do believe he will have a slight disadvantage in terms of the hybrid boost compared to his Audi compatriots. So Yeah, we'll have to see that. Salmon pulls back to the inside and towards Mulsanne corner now. And he'll take back the 3rd place in P1 overall.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of what we're going to see over the race. Here we go, Maciej Mlinek under pressure now from Daniel Bucher. He's not quite going to get the run down to the 2nd Mulsanne chicane, but he's keeping him honest. Of course, the LMP2s don't have the boost. They don't have the same the ERS that the LMP1s have, so they're just naturally aspirated. So are non-hybrid, should I say. They're just completely free of that. Back to the front now, Lewis Woods with Lennart Rart, riding on board with Lennart Rart now as he comes through the middle sector up towards the Porsche curves in just a moment's time. You can see the drive that the Audi gets out, gets on the boost early, but then the Porsche with the boost is able to come back. So this is what we're going to see, this kind of swapping and changing. The Audi and the Porsche have their strengths, so they are now going to come through the Porsche curves for the first time. Wonderful section of track as well as they come through, but yeah, good stuff. And as well, just keeping an eye throughout the field as well. Looks like Kevin Kittelman has lost the lead in P2 Amber. We're going to keep an eye on P2 Pro, and is this bump drafting that we're seeing down towards, oh my word, down towards Indianapolis. Where's he going? Down towards Indianapolis. Daniel Bucher shoving Maciej Mlinek down towards Indianapolis. Was not going to go for a move, but we've seen that in practice, Dane. They've been practicing doing it, but I always kind of wince or cringe when I see it, because I've had bad experiences in the past.
Absolutely. If you think back to, well, last year, a big meme at the time is he got a car in the wall on the way into Arnage, and I believe that might be Sivisabo as well coming through. I just saw a straight LMP1. There it is, Sivisabo coming through after serving his pit lane start. And the car in the wall at Arnage, and you can see the LMP1 making its way past. Let's see what happened here. Into Indy. Riding on board with Kittelman. Now what happens? Oh, just locks up. I don't think there was contact from behind. That definitely, yeah, there was no one around him. Just locks up the rears, and into the wall it swerved.
Yeah, shame for Kevin Kittelman. I think he was just trying to avoid the cars in front, but it went all wrong for him on board with Sivisabo. Of course, he took the pit lane starts, and he's trying to make his way back up through the field right now. But Tim Perry now leads P2 AM, as I mentioned before. In comes Kevin Kittelman. He was the pole sitter, and he's now got damage to repair, and aero damage around here is a death sentence, and he's going to now have to pit to repair that car. So we're going to now keep our eyes around the field, of course, but that's such a shame for him as we come on to we're only 4 minutes in already, and we're now seeing this is Flavio Figuccio moving, or trying to keep Mateusz Drozda behind him. Drozda moves in front in the 2nd Mulsanne chicane. That's 3rd place in class for the championship leader. But they're already kind of a good ways back from 2nd place in class iRacing Mantis. Let's see if Flavio Figuccio is going to come back at him now. Slipstream for the Audi. It's a diesel powered, of course, this car. Now in the slipstream, he's going to move to the outside of the Mulsanne corner. That's going to be a very tricky move. He's going to try, but he's not going to quite get that move done, and has to back off. Porsche uses a lot more of the curb. Figuccio using a bit of boost. Back to the front now. Lennart Rart going to try and take the lead from Lewis Woods, and no kind of defense put up by Lewis Woods. It's early on, and Lennart Rart takes the lead, the overall lead here in Le Mans through Indianapolis, and let's see if he can hang on to that. But that's certainly not going to be over, because gets very wide. Lewis Woods on the exit of Indianapolis. But they're pushing pretty hard early on, but the top 3 firmly together. But this is going to be a great fight between these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that's different about the LMP, with the 2 cars in LMP1, is I believe the Audi has a bit of a more powerful boost deploy. So if you hold the boost button down in both cars, the Audi gives a little bit extra punch than the Porsche. So you see the Porsche drivers getting that boost over a bit of a longer period and getting a more gradual acceleration, whereas the Audi, it's more like a rocket launcher, and it just bang, there's your power. So you'll see that as they exit the corners, as Woods is staying with him, and Salmon looks like he's joined the party up at the top as well. But we're seeing now Zoilov trying to get past Jones into Mulsanne, and he just pulls out of it back into single file, and he'll try and get a run down what is actually the fastest part of the circuit in towards Indianapolis.
Yeah, he's going to think about it. Back to the Maciej Mlinek, Daniel Bucher and Tunison battle. That's still raging on. This is the battle for the lead in P2 Pro. There's 4 cars in this one. Jakob Viderka, of course, he was the pole sitter. He's now fought back to the back of this train. And this is all keeping them all together. Here's your teams, by the way. Look at that. All the top 6 in P2 Pro are all RLR Brazil Esports. They're all teammates. So let's see if they're going to fight each other hard. I'm not sure they are. Daniel Bucher's just been bump drafting Maciej around. And RLR Brazil Esports, of course, leading out front. P1 Pros and Lewis Woods and Leonard are teammates, of course. That's why they didn't fight too hard. So utter domination at the moment from RLR Brazil Esports. Good stuff on it. Ooh, we got a car around. That is Edwards. Who that looks like Indianapolis to me, and certainly ended up facing the wrong way in there. Had to get back going again, but I think that's not the first time. That's not the first time we're going to see that in there, and had to get back underway. Corey Edwards rejoin, and yeah, that's not the first time we're going to see that very tough corner, Indianapolis, and. He's now rejoined in 13th place. No damage by the looks of it, so kind of escaped that. Fastest man on track in P2 Pro at the moment, not by much though, is Tunison in 3rd in class, but these guys are all teammates. They're not going to fight each other too hard. There's your leader in P2 Tim Perry. He's got 3.3 seconds back to Maracal. This is after Kevin Kittleman's, of course, his mistake. So he's got a little bit of a comfortable lead now. So, and he's mixing it in with the P2 Pros at the moment. He is the championship leader, so he'll be happy to be staying where he is at the moment. So we'll see if he can do that. Maracal is 3.4 behind. He's maintaining that in this early phase of the race. And great to see that the rest of the field is all kind of bunched up together. This is Liam Rance, of course, pit lane start for Liam Rance. He's a P8 in class. Now catching up to the back of Ward, and he's got about 1.4 seconds up to the back of Shane Dunn. Just a little bit more work to do, but he's making good progress. Is Liam Rance, the round 1 winner. But yeah, it's very close across the field. Maciej Mlinek, Daniel Bucher, Tunison all together on track. Leonard Rock, Lewis Woods, Alex Salmon all the way up the field, all together. So there around goes Liam Rance in the first Mulsanne chicane. No damage by the looks of it, just looped it round, and that looked very similar to what happened to Kevin Kittleman. It looks like he just locked his rears heading in there. I'm not sure if there was contact. Might have a look at it again. We're going to get a look at it again here as he came into the first Mulsanne chicane. So see here, he gets on the brakes and. Oh, it was contact. Round he went, and I think he just completely missed his braking point. Don't think he was going to make the corner there, Tane.
Yeah, it didn't look like it, did it? Maybe caught out by the driver just in front of him as well. Very easy for that to happen. Leaders just crossing the start-finish line now on LMP1. Wood setting the fastest lap, but still sitting behind Leonard Rott. And you can see the track map now on the right-hand side. LMP1's mostly heading through the first sector. The LMP2s just making their way through Mulsanne and towards Indianapolis. So we've still got quite a little bit of time, I would say, before we see the LMP1s making their way through the LMP2 field. But that will definitely be interesting to see how they manage it, because of course they do have the long straight so they can get past, but there's also some sections where it's pretty risky to make an overtake, like here in the Porsche curves.
Yeah, you've got to be really committed to make a move in the Porsche curves. So we're going to see now Lewis Woods has taken the lead, so he swapped around with his teammate. So Lewis Woods back to the lead, moves up the inside of the first Mulsanne chicane, and no real fight put up by Leonard Rart there. So swapping places left, right and centre here at the head of the field between the teammates, trying to not cost each other too much time. And the Audi moves back to the front, so this is going to be an interesting fight, certainly, between these guys. Alex Salmon just kind of watching and waiting in the background as tries to just see if he can maybe make a move past these two, but he's going to be patient, I'm sure. Down towards the Mulsanne corner they come right now. They're going to be catching the tail end of the P2 Pros very shortly. The tail end of that field is just round the corner at the Mulsanne corner, but Lewis Woods doing nicely now, but Alex Salmon, he's just got closer in the Mulsanne corner, the braking for that. So he's doing a nice job as we try to keep our eye on everything here. Arias Humantis and Hutchinson together on track at the moment as he tries to make his way up through the field right now. He's trying to get in the slipstream. He's not quite able to get close enough here as they come down towards Indianapolis. But they're not fighting for places in class. They're fighting for overall position at the moment. So he'll just be wanting to keep himself nicely in touch. Back to the leaders though. It's a nice train forming here. This is going to be, I think, even more intriguing when we get to the pit stop phases, because this is going to be all about strategy as well. But they have to make a pit stop at some point. So be interested to see as we go back to the midfield scrap here. Just Graziano getting overtaken there by Skorupski, it looked like, into the braking zone. Bruno Aguirre's in there too, Neumann's in there too. Graziano going to try and come straight back at Skorupski here as they come down to the second Mulsanne. He'll have to take the outside line there, Matteo Graziano, and gets a nice run as they head into the braking zone, and Skorupski does not fight it, backs off as they head in there. But good scrapping all the way through the field at the moment as the cones begin to start flying now. The cones getting abused here as we go back to Maciek Mlinek and Daniel Bucher, and this is great stuff between these two. Daniel has just been bump drafting Maciek Mlinek the whole way through this race, and there is no let up from him at the moment, but Maciek Mlinek still managing to hang on to this lead, but it seems that they're just not wanting to fight each other. If they start fighting, they're going to lose too much time.
Yeah, they definitely are. Bump drafting, probably the way to go, and we're going to see a bit of that, I think, here from Booker with his teammates, of course. But you can see they're starting to already have a little bit of a gap, about 4 seconds to Ivo Lauscher just behind. Actually, you could hear there was a bit of a clutch being used there, lifting and coasting in towards Indianapolis. So they're already thinking about fuel saving. Early on in the race, as Lauscher's just been overtaken by little more to lose out on P5 in LMP2 Pro.
Absolutely, yes. Oh, Mark Sweethoff running off the road there in Indianapolis did very well to keep it in check there. But that's always a scary one through there. Got on the gravel, had to really fight the car coming through there, but managed to keep it going in a straight line. But that's always scary going through there, isn't it, Dane? If you run wide, it's either it's very high speed and it's very easy to spin it when you get into that gravel. But he managed to just about keep it going in a straight line.
Yeah, a bit of improvised rallycross, that's called. And he did that very well, executed brilliantly, and he keeps on going. Lewis Woods, a little bit of a touch of the gravel there for himself. Alex Salmon dropping back slightly now from the lead 2 cars, but those lead 3 in LMP1. Oh dear! That's Bell, and I didn't catch who the other driver was. Was it David Nichols? What has happened here?
Oh, that's certainly a strange one, but that's yeah, David Nichols and Jackson Bell, and they. Oh yeah, that's not ideal. Coming through there, it looks like they just came magnetized through that right-hander and got helped along into the wall. That time around, which is not what you want to be happening. So Marcel van der Berg here, he's putting pressure on the cars in front. As we see now, back to the lead. This is the battle for the lead in that was our leader in P2 Pro, but that's Maciek Mlinek down to 4th all of a sudden. So he's obviously made an error, but that's a small error has just now put him to the back of that train that he was leading.
We're going to see what happened here. Did he just let them all pass?
Yeah.
Marco Barbaneris' cycling strategy. I thought initially it might have been a slowdown, but I don't think he lost enough time for it to be a slowdown. So I think he might be right.
Yeah, that could be a good call there. I think he just moved over and now cycled back to the back of the field to rest himself, I guess, at the top. But yeah, Ivo Lauscher, he's in a train of his own right now in the 299. He's got a few cars behind him right now, as that's Ryan Littlemore. It's going to try and make a move on his inside into the Mulsanne corner, and he does get it stopped and done. Good effort from Ryan Littlemore. Gets it stopped cleanly through in the Mulsanne corner. Next up, Matteo Graziano fancies a go as well as they head up to Indianapolis. So losing places here. Here comes Graziano with the inside line for the chicane. He's going to also try and get up alongside Littlemore. He's not going to quite get there, as far as I can see, but Lauscher's trying to fight this one. Littlemore's going to back. Oh, Graziano gets the both of them as they come into Indianapolis. Lovely stuff from him, and he manages to slot in front of both of them. That was pretty brave stuff from the Italian, and managed to send it up the inside of the two of them. Good effort.
Yeah, very nice move from him. I've done that move a couple of times. Indianapolis, not the easiest place to overtake, but it can be done. It's a bit risky, but when you put it off, it looks absolutely incredible. And yeah, good move from him. As we're looking at P2 Perry leading, of course, and he's got a 3-second gap to Maricel behind. So looking pretty good out in front there. He's got a bit of a drafting buddy as well. We're having a replay for Michael Seal. What has happened here? Oh, punt. That's what's happened there.
Yep. It's, and I could see in the iRacing chat, was not happy in the slightest with that. So that's getting sent around. But we can see now Tim Perry at the head of the P2 field. Gap has dropped to 2.3 seconds now. Look at that. So Maricel's reeling him in now. It took about half a second out of him on the previous lap. 1.3 on the lap before that. So Tim Perry losing a bit of time now at the head of the field, but he's still got track position, which is the key. So he'll be able to stick in there. But he's gonna have his work cut out here. He's back to the front. Lewis Woods, bit of breathing space now over at Leonard Raerts at the head of the train right here. And actually, to be fair, Alex Salmon's kind of starting to put pressure on Leonard Raerts at the same time. But now they're catching the traffic of the P2 and the P2 gets on the grass a bit there. Leonard Raerts getting on the boost there as he comes up towards turn 1, closes the gap that he lost actually, coming up towards turn 1 and gets back in the slipstream of his teammate at the head of the field. 23 minutes gone in this race, but this is really great stuff to watch. As oh dear, Ivo Laubscher is in the wall on the exit of the first Mulsanne. Be careful as he tries to get back going in the straight line, but oh no, the 299 ended up in the wall, and we go back now. Arcadius Neumann, who is going to get himself involved in this scrap at the head of the train here, and he moves into ahead. He moves up ahead there of the cars there as they head down the second part of the Mulsanne straight. But Ivo Laubscher, oh dear, ending up in the wall on the exit of the first Mulsanne chicane, and certainly not where you want to be. And there you go. And took a heavy lick of the wall right there, but managing to at least get back going again. I'm not sure how much damage he will have had after that, but any kind of aero damage is really going to affect you around here. Back to the front though, it's still Lewis Woods ahead of Leonard Raerts, but now the traffic is going to start playing its part, and Leonard Raerts getting great drive out of the second Mulsanne right there. Is he going to think about going for an overtake in the Mulsanne corner? Got the slipstream, but again, not quite able to get up alongside that Audi as he heads through. I don't think there's going to be a move on for the German here as he gets on the brakes. No, but look at that now. They've got a big gaggle of P2s to get through, and it's a scary place to catch them here, heading on towards Indianapolis. Audi getting on that early boost. The Porsche it takes a bit more time to get on the boost, of course, but look, they're just going past the P2s as if they're standing still. That's the sheer speed, and look at the drive Raerts got now as they head up towards Indianapolis. Is he going to go for it this time? No, he backs off heading into Indianapolis. But no move on for him just yet. But he's really hounding the back of his teammate right now. But really the speed of these LMP1s is really evident with that. The P2s, they're not slow, but made it look as if they were just not moving at all down towards Indianapolis.
Yeah, definitely. You could hear the boost being used. The car does make a bit of a different sound when you're deploying the boost, and yeah, you could hear they pretty much drained the batteries, trying to get past the LMP2s as quickly as possible to lose as little time as possible. I think Salmon got caught up behind the LMP2s. Unfortunately for him, he's dropped back by about 3 seconds now. But he has a little bit of extra boost to play with, you would imagine. So it evens itself out over the course of the hour-long race, as Rad's now got past Woods. So they've swapped positions again. This is Valentin, 4th place in MP1, runs a little bit wide out of the Porsche curves. Just this is Yamantis just ahead of him, I believe. So not an LMP2, the Porsche LMP1, the 919 and the Dallara LMP2 look fairly similar from the back, so sometimes you can't really tell.
James Holman moving in front of Bruno Aguirre down the Mulsanne straight. Simple move for James, gets in front and into 9th he moves now. Hugo Valentin getting in front of Arias Yamantis in the Audi. So the hometown hero up to 4th in class, and well, he's in 4th in class anyway, but he's now moved up into 5th overall. 13 seconds now to make up to Alex Salmon, which is his next target. This big scrap going on in the midfield here. James Holman losing back the place to Bruno Aguirre. Ryan Littlemore at the head of it, and they now head down towards the Mulsanne corner once again. Stuff so far from these guys, mostly clean, which is what we like to see. There's Tim Perry, but look at that gap, 1.2, 1.1 it sits at right now. So Marikal has been chipping away at it consistently over the past few laps. There's your gap. It's halved basically in the past couple of laps. Oh, Littlemore, Ryan Littlemore is in the gravel at Mulsanne corner, and I've got a horrible feeling that might have been a punt in the rear heading into that corner. So Ryan Littlemore, who was running so well up in that top 10, he gets now, we're going to have a quick look and see what happened here. The 242 gets very hits him in the rear coming into the corner, and then oh dear, yeah, that just seemed like a total brake fail. That was a strange one here. We're going to look at it again. So you can see here, gets a little tap in the rear, and yeah, just gets absolutely sent to the shallow realm in the Mulsanne corner. For Ryan Littlemore, that's a real shame for him. That's a strange incident. Dane, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I think just lifted the rear of the car up, the contact did, and sent him with a loss of grip onto the gravel. Pretty much no grip on the gravel, so yeah, pretty much no stopping force applied, and into the wall he went. Quite a lot of damage to that car as well, you could see, with a hefty impact into the wall, so he's going to be feeling the effects of that one. Luckily, he should be able to pit and take fuel for the end of the race, so if he can continue, then he won't have to pit again.
And might be able to do that. Looking at Marcel van der... Oh dear, that was Hugo Valentin coming through, as we now see Lennart Raert into the pit lane, and I think Lewis Woods is behind him, so there was a swap there between them, and they head into the pit lane now. The two teammates, Hugo Valentin is in as well. Of course, we're at the halfway mark. We're nearly at the halfway mark of this race, and now they pit for fuel. Hugo Valentin is in, of course, from 4th in class, but Alex Salmon has decided to stay out for another lap, I would imagine, so he's going to try and do an overcut strategy here in that car. Loki Brown, who's leading the P1 AM category, is behind him, and he's going to try and follow him. So Alex Salmon has now got to try and put in a really fast lap here. But he should be able to fuel to the end. No, I would imagine they'll be able to go to the end with the fuel when they do come out of pit lane. But Alex Salmon trying to get another victory to add to his belt, but Leonard Raart's there, and you can see how much time he managed to gain over Lewis Woods in the pit lane. So you see now, there is Alex Salmon. He's got a lot of traffic to deal with on this lap, so not ideal. He's got look at that big chunk of P2s right in front of him. So not the best that he has to try and deal with, but hopefully he's able to catch them and pass them cleanly. So let's see how he deals with this now. He's got about 4 or 5 to get past here. Gets on the boost, so that's dispatches 1, dispatches 2. He's got to try and get past a lot of these before they get to the Mulsanne corner. Gets past the 3rd, but they're of course embroiled in their own battle as well in the middle of this one. So coming into the Mulsanne corner, he's not going to get them by the Mulsanne corner. Now he's going to wait, be patient, and now watch the boost. Absolutely leaves them sitting, and now he's got some clean air to try and get away with. So dealt with that very nicely, but would have lost a bit of time there.
Yeah, definitely would have lost a bit of time, but definitely took the smart option of waiting behind. See way too many drivers try and send up the inside of the 3 cars there, and definitely not the smart move. But here we go, side by side, and then MP2. Oh! Are they going to avoid the wall or not? That was the question, and I don't know the answer to it. I don't know. They have not. That was a pretty high-speed incident there, heading through the kink before Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was Bruno Aguirre, who was the man sent off into that gravel trap he had now. Calistani comes in. That is a massive off at Indianapolis, and definitely connected with the wall pretty hard there on the right-hand side. So shame for Bruno Aguirre, but that's the way it goes. Side by side into Indianapolis with wheel-to-wheel contact, and he was sent off into the gravel at high speed. One of the fastest parts of the circuit right there. Alex Salmon now probably going to head to the pit lane, is he? Doesn't look like it. The pit entry, of course, is a bit... They know he's going to go on, so he's confident he can go a couple more laps. He's obviously done a bit of fuel saving, or put a bit more fuel in the car, but he's continuing on for a lap or 2 more. And Loki Brown, man who's leading P1am, pits for his mandatory stop. And there is, of course, Mateusz Drozda, who is second in class behind him, and gets right on the tail of the P2 car in front of him, but doesn't make contact, thankfully. And side by side here, Mark Sweethoff up the inside of the 211. iRacing Mantis is in the P1 behind the both of them. He has to negotiate them. That was, of course, the other car there with Tim Perry. There he is, the 383. He's the leader at P2am, but he's got Maracal not too far behind him. That's the car immediately behind him. iRacing Mantis is going to pass them both now in that P1 car. There he goes. But there's the 376 of Maracal chasing down our leader in P2am. And now he's firmly got him in his sights. Now into the slipstream he goes. And Tim Perry in real trouble now. Maracal has been chipping away at that gap consistently over the past few laps, and is now firmly in with a shot now of trying to take this lead. But Tim Perry has led pretty much every lap since lap 1 after Kevin Kittleman made his error. But he's got to now fight for this one with Maracal on his tail, and they're coming up to the back of the Kalastani-Holman-Neumann battle, which is still going on in front of them. But they should be able to get away with that one pretty nicely. But things hotting up nicely here as we go back to this fight. Again, there's Daniel Bucher at the head of the P2 Pro field. Oh, Alex Salmon's trying to get past at the same time. Couldn't quite do it. Now he's going to get past on the exit, but still, again, it gets held up a little bit. But Daniel Bucher leading that one. Jakub Viderka is second. And then Toyneson behind them. Sorry, Maciek Leinek and then Toyneson. So that's the 4-car train that we're seeing right here. All teammates. But Daniel Bucher now, is there going to be a move on? Yes, there is. There goes Viderka back to the lead, and no fight put up. There's definitely what Marco said. It's definitely some cycling tactics going on here. All teammates working with each other.
Yeah, definitely working together. You can see the gap almost nothing. What was that? Kalastani going on the inside of the curb. There's a huge ramp of a curb on the inside there, so he's lucky to have got away with that one, but either keeps or gains 8th position with an LMP1 just behind. But that was some risky driving there from Galistani. But just looking at the weather on the right hand side, just interested to see, because of course weather and the track temperature especially plays a big role in how much the tyres wear. And I was looking at some of the LMP2 drivers really struggling for grip almost. But the temperature on the track is 68 Fahrenheit, which is about 20 degrees Celsius. So that's fairly cool temperatures on the track, so they shouldn't be struggling with tyre wear too much. But Salmon goes for another lap, so I think rather than Salmon extending the fuel window, I think it's more of everyone else pitted early.
Yeah, seems like it. So it seems Alex is just on a kind of a quote-unquote normal strategy at the moment. As we see now, that was iRacing Mantis coming into the pit lane to serve his pit stop. He's of course leading at the moment in P1M, but that should go back to Loki Brown, who pitted a lap or two earlier. Here we go back to these guys. Jakub Viderka in the 212, just in front of his teammate. And there's Tim Perry, and there is Jason Marcal in P2. And he can see now that was wide from Perry, that was deep into the chicane. So Marcal will have seen that. That's an opportunity that he can maybe try and line up now. He's head up towards the Mulsanne, but Marcal has been driving very, very well, consistently bringing that gap down. Here we go now, going to join the Mulsanne, which is of course a main road in the daytime, the normal day-to-day life, but part of a racetrack on this one now. Slipstream for Jason Marcal in his P2. Is he going to be able to make a move here? You can see Tim trying to break that slipstream, but here comes Marcal. Slipstream for him now. We'll have the inside line for the first Mulsanne chicane. Slipstream's passed, and we have a new leader in P2. It is Jason Marcal who slots to the lead and gets the reward for his trials, gets through, and he's chipped away at that gap consistently and has done a really nice job and deserves that lead.
Yep, definitely does. He's been working really hard to get that gap down low enough, but unfortunately this is Le Mans, which means once you gain the lead, unless you pull a gap, which is incredibly difficult, there is Perry right back past him into the braking zone. He's trying to hold it around the outside. No, he's going to let him pass. But now I think Perry's going to have the same fate. He doesn't get the best of exits out of the second chicane, but will Marcal try to get back past into Mulsanne corner? I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough. Yes, he will. The draft starts to come into effect now. He'll pull to the inside surely. There he goes. In towards Mulsanne corner now. Battle for P2M lead, of course, over the curb. A little bit of a bump, but he keeps it under braking. Almost losing the rear was the driver just behind. I think it might have been Zoidov. But
yeah,
he had the lead, and Perry right behind would probably be able to make a move into Indy if he really wanted to.
Yeah, I think he's certainly going to think about a good slipstream as they head into Indianapolis. He's having a look on the inside. He's alongside. He is going to go for it as they head into Indianapolis. It's going to have to be brave for Marcal. He backs off as they head into the braking zone. Here comes one of the Porsches. I believe that's Leonard Rart actually trying to make his way through behind them. Yeah, that's our second place man as they both try to come through. Marcal to the outside. So there's two battles going on right now. On board with Marcal as Rart gets through. There goes Lewis Woods, I think that is, around the outside. So he's trying to chase after Rob, but now Marcal alongside. This is a great scrap for the lead here, up towards the Porsche curves. He's going to have to be brave here. Tim Perry, if he wants to hang on to this one, but I think he should be able to do it. Marcal's going to go for it on the inside, though. He gives him room as they head into the Porsche curves, but Tim Perry is in front and manages to hang off as Zuidhoff is right behind them. He's just kind of watching. He's not there for position. So he's getting front row seats for this, but this is a great scrap between these two, and Leonard Rart and Lewis Woods did a really good job to make it through as Alex Salmon has finally decided to pit.
Yeah, Hutchinson's joined him, so I think fuel window definitely running out there. A couple of the LMP2, or a lot of everyone in the top 8 of LMP2 joining. Everybody in LMP2 is joining them in the pit lane. Very busy in the pit lane, and Salmon, he's come out miles ahead.
Brilliant job. excellent stuff from Alex Salmon. He's jumped the both of them in the pit stop strategy. And I think, Dane, that was all down to that traffic. I think, look at the gap that it is. I think if they hadn't got caught in that traffic, it could have been much closer. But Alex Salmon did the job very nicely. Went 3 laps longer on the stint. And there you go. And all the teammates coming in, as you mentioned, LMP2s, all coming in at the same time. And they all come out as they went in that one. So Jakub Widerka is your leader in that one, and he emerges in the lead comfortably. He's actually got more of a gap than he had going in, so good stuff from the 212. But Alex Salmon, he went 3 laps longer, and it really worked out for him. Lennart Rart and Lewis Woods is catching the traffic at the wrong time. And there's Marikal, and that is right in front of him is Tim Perry. So that was very, very even pit stops from both of them. But Tim Perry not able to shake him off, and that battle is going to go through right to the end. We have still plenty of time left in this race, but he gets jumped actually by Sweethoff, who coming out of the pit lane. He was slow off the limiter, and Sweethoff, right, I'll have that one.
I just heard it through my headset. There was a car on the right-hand side, and oh, well, there goes the cone over the fence as well. I know Marco loves the cones. He feels very bad for the cones when they get knocked out, just like at Sonoma. I remember a broadcast very long time ago. That poor cone, Marco says, and he says that very often. But yeah, the cones here, they go flying all the time. Driver extending track limits as much as possible. That cone there is sort of sacred ground. The second you touch that cone, you get a nice slowdown as well. So that cone stays put, but most of the other cones are fair game around this place.
Yeah, and you can see Marco in the chat, as always, telling everyone to respect the cones, and that is our message of the day here on Apex Racing TV. Alex Salmon in the lead right now, but Lennart Rart has closed up to him, as has Lewis Woods, and this is back to the way it was before, when we started. Now back to this lead battle. Tim Perry, Jason Marikal glued to the back of him as they head down the Mulsanne into the second chicane. Marikal, lovely run as they head into the chicane. He's going to go for that inside line now and try and take this lead away that he did before. 376 versus 383, second chicane down the Mulsanne. Through goes Marikal, but that's not going to be said and done because Perry's going to try and get that run. But he goes wide, and that might cost him the run that he needs. Heading through there, just understeered straight off the road and loses the drive out of the corner and has to secede. But now, back to the P1 pros on board with Lennart Rart, and as they head out of the Porsche curbs into the Ford and Ford chicanes. This is great stuff between these guys, and they've been basically glued together for the past 40 minutes, and this is fantastic racing. This is why we love Le Mans. It's just like this all the time, and it's perfect for these cars. And there's only 2 rounds of the championship left after this one, so crucial point positions for Rart, and he's going to catch this P2 in the wrong place, but he's going to be very close. He doesn't manage to negotiate it. Very, very close. Lewis Woods follows him through as well, but that was almost a big accident between them. And you can see now Marikal, a bit of a gap built over Tim Perry, but Tim Perry is still in the draft range. But that would have been a scary moment for Lennart Rart. He absolutely sent that up the inside, but he's cost himself time, and Lewis Woods might have a chance now down the Mulsanne in the slipstream, move it to the inside line, and you can see, look how far that Alex Salmon has built the gap now, just because of that small mistake. But there he is now, and through goes Lewis Woods ahead of Rart, but Rart's going to get the double slipstream. Of course, he might be able to have a go up the inside, but no. But very, very close through there, but that cost him about a second.
Yeah, it could have cost him the race. Very, very risky stuff there. I could see it happening. The LMP2 was just in possibly the most awkward position possible for Rart to negotiate there. And yeah, unfortunately for him, it cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, so of course we're going to go through the classes now, remind you who is where as we approach the end of this race. You're looking right now at your P2 AM leader. That is, of course, Jason Marikal, who just took the lead from Tim Perry, who sits in that P2 position. So he's doing a really nice job, and he sits comfortably where he is in that spot. And then, of course, you have Craig Jones. And then Jos Baumeister, Corey Edwards, Shane Dunn, Jonathan Keane, Marcel Leclerc, Ryan Epperingham, and Alex Moore and Nathan Healy. Kevin Kittleman, unfortunately, a DNF from this race. Just seen him disconnect there. He was our pole sitter, but unfortunately has DNF'd as well. And we can see Liam Rance is out, Nichols, Balmer and Bell all out as well, and Michael Seals in the pit lane as well. So it's been a pretty hectic one for the P2 apps. But we're looking now at your P2 Pros, which has been absolutely non-stop this whole way through. But all of a sudden now, Jakub Viderka's got a 4-second lead nearly over the next car behind, which is, of course, Maciek Mlynarczyk. Daniel Bucher is third, Sepp Toynesson fourth, Matteo Graziano, Christoph Skorupski and Arkadiusz Neumann. James Holman is 8th in class, Matteo Calistani and Mark Ziethoff. Julian Bell, Ivan Laubscher and Bruno Aguirre, Brian Cavido, Marcel van der Berg, Matty Chambers, David Ward and Luke Pennington, who is at the back of that one. Ryan Littlemore, of course, with that crash we saw at the Mulsanne, is now out of this race, and he's the only car that's out at the moment. P1 Am at the head of the field, and unchallenged at the moment is Loki Brown at the head of it. Arius Imantis is second, Mateus Drozda is third, Flavio Faguccio is fourth, and Daniel Civizabo rounds out that one. Just 5 cars in that field, but Loki Brown very comfortable at the head of that one. And then we all know who's at the head of this one. It is Alex Salmon who leads this one after the great pit stop call. Lewis Woods second, and Leonard Rart third, Hugo Valentin in fourth, and Mark Hutchinson fifth in class. And that is your runners at the moment. But Alex Salmon 1.6 seconds to the good now. But this is going to be a good stuff. These two had a good fight at Road America with Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods. It was for second, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing them going at it for the lead here at Le Mans. It was very, very close between the both of them. But it's almost roles reversed now completely. Leonard Rart was miles out in front in Road America. Now he's third, and Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods get a chance to go at it again. But it could be a little too late. There's not much time left in this race. Oh, we have a slow one. Maciek Mlynarczyk is slow, but did he just move out of the way again for his teammates? Is that just cycling back through again in class right there? He lets his 2 guys go in front of him. So that could have been a slowdown. Could also have been a slowdown, yeah. It very well could have been. So that could have just let his 2 lads through there. Toynesson was that was a bit of a moment for the car on the outside there. We're looking at Shane Dunn. 384 clatters the curve, heads wide, and that gives Shane Dunn all the invitation he needs to get past the 384. That was for 6th in class. So Keane letting him through, well, not exactly letting him through, but just making an error. And Sweethoff into the pit lane again now. Is that going to be for damage, or could be for damage, or could be a penalty? We'll have to wait and see as he heads into the pit lane. And he was running kind of further down in his class, but not ideal now. Lewis Woods, he's under severe pressure now from Leonard Rart as he heads through Indianapolis, but they're still keeping tabs on Alex Salmon out front. It's still very close. Anything can still happen in this race, but these 3 have been together for the past hour and nothing has been able to separate them.
Yeah, they've been really, really close. It's pretty difficult to, like I said earlier, extend the lead at Le Mans because of the draft down the straights. You can see most of the track are straights. It's pretty hard to deny that. There's a lot of straights here, so keeping a gap or extending a gap is very difficult, because the second you head out onto one of those straights, you get the driver catching you back up again. Salmon actually lost a little bit of time through the Porsche curves there. The gap is only about a second now, but I think he is very strong in this very final sector here in the Ford chicanes. Woods ran a little bit deep into the second part of that, but still the gap only about a second, so draft's definitely starting to come into play. Right with a personal best lap last time by as well. But now we're looking at the battle for...
Oh my word. What is this? What is this? Is this NASCAR we're watching? That's a 3-man draft down towards Indianapolis. Seb Toynesson in the middle of that as they head down. Oh my word, boys, do not crash. That's going to be a horrible accident if you do that. But oh, that's about as close as you could get between P2s down into Indianapolis. And they somehow, I don't know how, but they managed to come out of that one. in one piece. Daniel Bucher and Maciek Mlinek also taking part in that one, but making Seb Toyneson the meat in the sandwich there, heading down there. But this is great. This is battle for second in class. This is just allowing Jakub Federka to just check away out front. He's suddenly about 5 seconds clear at the moment in time. There's Tim Perry, who is now about 2 seconds back from Jason Marikal, and he's now having to battle with the 211. That's Bell in front of him, and he's in the pro category, so he's not battling for position in class, but he's going to be frustrated that he can't get past here. He's going to have to try and think about it into the Porsche curves. Does he go for it here, or is this another bump draft maneuver? It's very close into Porsche curves, but not able to do it, and is now losing more time to Jason Marikal as they continue to do that. But yeah, this is good stuff. Alex Salmon now just getting past some lap traffic. More cones go flying, as per Le Mans tradition. So now more lap traffic in the ways of Alex Salmon, and you can see in the background there's Lewis Woods, Lennart Rart tucked in behind in his Porsche. But not long to go in this race right now, just under 10 minutes. It's been exchanging lap times. You can see Lennart Rart getting very close in the background to Lewis Woods. He's not going to quite go for a move though, he's just sizing him up. I don't think actually Lennart is maybe going to go for a move. I think he knows Lewis might have a little bit more pace, so he's maybe just going to sit behind and try and just bridge the gap up to Alex Salmon up front.
Potentially. Maybe he's using the draft to save a little bit of boost up so that he can make a move. That's one of the strategies that you use to pass in if you want. But Salmon's gap definitely coming down as they head throughout the lap. He didn't have... well, he had a much larger gap when he came out of the pit lane, of course. But yeah, like you said, we're going to have around about 4 laps left. And gaining a second in 4 laps is... it's not overly difficult, but it's definitely easier said than done as they come to cross the line once more. So yeah, pretty much 4 laps to go at this point with just over 10 minutes left.
Yeah, as they came across the line there, just about 9 and a bit minutes, yeah, as they head across. But Alex Salmon now, you can see Lewis Woods has definitely closed in on him. You can see it visually that he's managed to bridge the gap down. And these guys, like I mentioned before, if you missed the round at Road America, these guys had a titanic scrap fighting for second. But now it's the battle for the lead between Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods. And you can see now Lewis is going to be firmly in the draft of the car in front. Lennart Rart is just going to sit and watch and see if he can try and make a move past. But you can see now definitely Lewis Woods with the man with the pace at the moment and the advantage of the draft into the first Mulsanne chicane. But there's not long left in this race now as they continue to circulate. This hour has nearly flown past. Now you can see now a little bit of weaving at slight, well, not quite weaving, but he's just trying to break the draft a little bit there, Alex Salmon. But Lewis Woods getting closer and closer and closer as they head into the first Mulsanne, as they head now to catch some lap traffic. On board we go with the second place man, and look how close he is to the back of our leader Alex Salmon. On the boost he goes, slipstream as well as they head down towards the Mulsanne corner. But is he close enough to go for it this time? I'm not quite sure he is. Some lap traffic coming up at the same time as well on the outside line. Good run for Lewis Woods. He dummies to the inside, back to the outside again. But good defence put up by Alex Salmon as they head into the Mulsanne corner. One of the LMP2s goes wide on the outset as well. One of them goes off in the background at the same time. But this is now the fight we like to watch. Indianapolis coming up for them now. Lewis Woods getting very close to the back of the car in front. Slipstream in effect, and Lennart Rart's going to be behind him as well at the same time, trying to find some room. But this is the battle for the overall lead in Le Mans. Here they come down towards Indianapolis. Is there a move on for Lewis Woods? No, he's going to sit behind into Indianapolis and has got to sit behind. But Lennart Rart's also been dragged into this one now. One of the LMP2s, the 384, is going to maybe get in the way a little bit now. Lewis Woods moves to the outside, trying to get a cutback line towards the Porsche curves. Gets on the boost nicely there as they head up towards the Porsche curves. Slipstream now for Lewis Woods. Is he close enough this time? Look at Leonard Raw with the boost in the Porsche. Gets past one. Can he get past two into the Porsche curves? Beautiful management by the Porsche. And through he goes, double overtake. Beautifully held together by the German. He leads in Le Mans.
What did I say? He was saving boost. That's what he was doing the whole time, stuck in third. He wasn't stuck there. He was just waiting for the moment, and he took it into the lead of the race. He goes 3 laps to go. I don't think he'll be able to hold on to it though, because of the nature of the circuit. This is going to be a battle right to the line.
Yeah, beautiful boost management by Leonard Rock, but now Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods have got to now try and work together to get back past the German in front. But look, you can see Salmon going defensive against Lewis Woods. Woods to the outside line of turn 1. That'll turn to the inside for the second chicane. Round the outside of turn 1 he goes. Can he go late on the brakes into the second chicane? Alex Salmon around the outside gives him space. He can't quite do it though, and they hang on, but this is costing them time to the leader. Leonard Rock building a small gap now out front, and he's got over a second already as they scrap it out here between these two Audis. But that Leonard Rock overtake was absolutely spectacular, so brave. But now surely these guys have got to try and work together to get to the back of him again. But there's either way, we're going to get a good scrap between Lewis and between Alex. Always a good fight between these two. Always great to watch as they head down to the second multi. Now there's a bit of a scrap going on in P2 in front of them as well. Rart's going to try and get past them here. Is he going to get held up as they come into the first multi chicane? He's got to try and negotiate them as best he can. Gets past one as they head into the braking zone. And Salmon maybe going to catch them in slightly the wrong area. No, it gets past one. And Rart gets past them as well. But well, this is absolutely sensational stuff from the guys in the top class. There goes Salmon past another one, the 224, and Woods follows through once again. But there's just about 7 minutes left in this race, and this is just absolutely non-stop at the head of the fields. You can see now Salmon closes in a little bit that time to Leonard Rart, and that's him directly in front, on board with Lewis Woods, as we follow on the back of Alex Salmon, who's also trying to get past Leonard Rart at the same time. There's one of the P2s heading past there as they head into the break-ins. Oh, Lewis Woods to the inside line. He gets through past on the inside, and there goes a massive send from Woods. There's going to be contact between the P2s, surely. How have they not come together in the break-ins? So this is phenomenal driving from these guys. But he had us on the edge of our seats there, Lewis Woods, as they head into the break-ins over the Mulsanne corner. But they had to be assertive that time, but how on earth did Lewis Woods not make contact with the P2s through there?
Yeah, that was a bit close, wasn't it? Heading through Mulsanne. But he has lost a tiny bit of time. He'll probably gain that back up. But I'm just thinking, Salmon ran a bit wide in Indianapolis. And this is Bell and Perry heading through the Porsche curves in LMP2. But I'm just wondering, Leonard Rart, he used a lot of boost there. You can see he used a lot to get out into the lead. Might have over boosted a bit, and then Salmon and Woods battling in the first sector might have just given him the gap he needed to save that boost back up. Because they spend a lot of time working on the optimal boosting strategies, of course. It's all manual in the LMP1 cars. So they have to control it all themselves and make sure that they use the boost in the best place possible. More updrafting in LMP2. I mean, guys, come on. This isn't NASCAR. And into the first chicane they go. It's crazy to watch because the front of the car must be flat enough, because I know for sure if you tried that in an LMP1 machine, you would instantly turn the other person in front of you. The same for any GT car, like Lando Norris and Max Verstappen in the Porsche RSR, almost over a year ago now, in that one Team Redline special event I remember watching last year. And did Woods just slam into the back of Salmon there?
There was definitely contact between the both of them, and that could have given Lewis Woods a bit of damage, but Leonard Rart seems to have just checked out now. He seems to have got a good gap over the both of them, but there was definitely contact there between them as they headed through. Just haven't seen it. Yeah, definitely contact between them as it came through, but Lewis Woods seems to be unaffected for now, but you can see Leonard Rart is 2.3 seconds in front right now. He's got a decent lead, and it should be the white flag next time by in this race. So is basically now to see who's going to get second. Unless Leonard Rott makes an error out front, he's going to try and go 2 races in a row with a win. And of course, Alex Salmon is the championship leader, so he's just trying to get as many points as he can. So, coming through into the second multi-sand, the cone goes flying again. And actually, I wonder if someone has somebody done a counter of how many times the cone's been hit in this race in just the hour. Can you imagine how many of them would go flying in the Le Mans 24? Which
those poor cones.
Yeah, those poor cones.
Poor Marshall have to run onto the track and put it back there every time.
Yeah, that Marshall, hopefully he's been paid well. Back to these guys again, these absolute mental guys. Maciek Majnek, Daniel Bucher and Seb Tonneson, who are the guys who are bump drafting specialists of the day. They're all teammates, of course, so that's why I think that's why they're able to do it without crashing. And through the Porsche curves they come. This is the battle for second in class as well, so they're all just. I think it's once we get on to the final lap, I think there's probably not going to be any bump draft. It's going to be full send from everybody behind. But they've got 2 laps left on their runs now as well. Back to Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods. There is Leonard Rarts as he gets past one of the P2s. Has a bit of space to play with at least. Over the top of the hill he comes. Alex Salmon now. He's just going to try and hang on for 1 more lap against Lewis Woods. And these 2 guys are going to be hoping that Leonard makes a mistake out front, gets past one of the P2s in the middle of the Porsche curves. Not hard, or not easy, sorry. And then gets another one caught up in the middle there. Here comes Lewis Woods, good run on Alex Salmon. White flags in the air. Where does Lewis Woods go for? He's going to go to the outside of the Ford chicanes. Can't quite get alongside there, but this is going to get feisty between these 2. And now they're sandwiched between 2 P2s now. They're going to try and get past this man on the exit, and they do so. White flag in the air at Le Mans. Rart takes us across the line to begin the final lap of the race. Here comes Lewis Woods now. Good run through turn 1. Alex Salmon's going to try and keep him behind, but remember the slipstream is going to be mega effective here. Hopping over the curbs in the first chicane. Keeping him behind for now, but Leonard Rart pretty comfortable at the moment in the lead. And did a great job to save up the boost and make the overtake when he did. Down onto the multi-sand they come for the last time now. And what does Alex Salmon do now? Now they're coming up to some traffic at the same time, but what does Woods do about it now? Woods taking the slipstream off the P2, moves back into the slipstream of Alex Salmon. You can see him closing them down as they head into the first multi-sand chicane, goes defensive towards the multi-sand. Here comes Woods. Where does he go to? He tries to go dummies back to the outside line. Late on the brakes on the outside line. They go wheel to wheel into the multi-sand corner. Lewis Woods moves in front, but that's not going to be over. Alex Salmon with the run on the exit now. Good slipstream from him as they head down the multi-sand straight. But again, good boost usage by the car in front, but Salmon's going to get the run on the exit again. Good slipstream heading up into multi-sand 2, the second multi-sand chicane. Where does Woods go to this time? He goes to the inside line defensive again. Oh, there's a contact surely as they head into the multi-sand corner. They somehow can come out in one piece. Salmon tries to go around the outside, can't do it. Woods hangs on for now, goes a bit wide on the exit though, and down towards the multi-sand corner they come right now. This is an unbelievable scrap between these 2. And now Salmon's got the inside for the multi-sand corner, but that'll switch to the outside line for the right-hander. He's got to get in front before they get there. Salmon's in front by half a car length, and he manages to try and seal that position. Now around the outside, Woods makes contact. He moves on the outside. He's going to get into the gravel. Oh, Lewis Woods is off in the multi-sand corner and makes contact with the barrier. And the battle that we had, he tried to hang around the outside, but it was just too audacious. And he did try everything, but it was just too much to ask in the end. And oh, what an end to that battle. That was absolutely insane from those guys. As we see now, this is Mateusz Drozda. This is second in class, by the way. Arias Diamantis in front of him. Drozda is trying to make it second place here versus the Lithuanian in front of him. Into the break of the multi corner, sends one up the inside. Drozda with a lovely overtake. He runs out, Diamantis out wide, and Drozda with the big send in the last lap. He's done the job in the 112, and he had to get that done there. Brilliant overtake by him, and absolutely fantastic stuff. But at the head of the field, Leonard Rart with a sensational double overtake with 2 laps left to run has built the gap he needed. Salmon and Woods slight contact, but he's managed to do the job now. Coming through the last chicanes now. He's going to go 2 in a row here in Le Mans, round the Ford chicanes and the Corvette chicanes. Lennart Rart, he's going to win here in Le Mans with a sensational drive. He comes across, takes the checkered flag. Alex Salmon is second, and a new winner in LMP2 AM as well. It's going to be Jason Marachal who wins that one. Here he comes across the line now. Great job by Jason Marachal. Takes the flag and takes his first win in his class. As they head now, this is now Loki Brown. He's going to be your new winner as well in P1 AM. Here he comes. He's going to take the checkered flag in the middle of this gaggle of cars. Takes the checkered. Loki Brown, P1 AM victor. But there you go. Yamantis has hung on actually against Drozda. He's going to go to the line for a second in class. You can see Drozda trying to find some space. He can't quite do it. Yamantis hangs on to take second in class. Drozda is third. And what a sensational fight there. We still have to wait now a little while actually till we get our P2 Pro driver across the line in the form of Jakub Viderka. Just behind them is actually Maciek Blajnek and, well, I'm going to call these guys the bump drafters actually, behind them. Blajnek, Bucher and Tynesen. But that was a great race between all of them. As you see, oh, there's a bit of a mistake in the background there between the teammates. That was Daniel Bucher making an error. Zeb Tynesen now with a good run on the outside, heading into the Mulsanne. Quite do. He's trying to fight his teammate, but doesn't obviously want to take him off at the same time. Now down into the Mulsanne corner, not quite alongside, but they've got half a lap left to go now. And let's see, is there going to be any of the shenanigans we saw earlier on between these guys? But Jakub Viderka is on course to take his first win, and the first time we're going to see somebody other than Michele Costantini take a win in the P2 Pro category. As we head down into Indianapolis, heading into this corner for the final time of the night. No bump drafting between them this time, not close enough to do that. But it's looking like a very good result for the team today. It's going to be Viderka ahead of Maciek Blajnek, Daniel Bucher and Zeb Tynesen, who sits behind for now. It looks like there's probably not going to be any moves made between these guys as they head up into the Porsche curves. It's probably going to stay as it is. And good drives all around from these guys. So Jakub Viderka in the P2 Pro category. Michele Costantini's dominated every single round, and of course he's not here tonight, so Viderka is going to take full advantage of that and secure himself his first win of the championship as well, with 2 rounds remaining. Here he comes now in the 212 to finally bring it across the line. It was a long wait for those to get across the line, but Jakub Viderka takes the win in Le Mans in the P2 Pro category. Excellent job from him. He's going to back off on the line. Oh, careful, don't back off too much, Jakub. And they all come across the line. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in their team. Blajnek and Bucher and Tynesen. And then it'll be Skorupski, Neumann, Graziano, and Holman, who we have to wait for across the line. But oh, Dane, that was a heck of a race. This is why we love Le Mans.
Yeah, so now we get to prove this to Marco Barbanero. This is why we like Le Mans, Marco. So don't come with your "I don't like Le Mans, terrible track" story. So yeah, this is why we love Le Mans. It's brilliant. We love it. Yeah, P1 Pro. I mean, that battle between the top 3 in P1 Pro was absolutely incredible throughout the race, and then after the pit stop especially. After Salmon's pit stop, absolutely insane fight between the top 3, and then it of course came out on top with Alex Salmon in second and Lewis Woods in third, then Hugo Valentin, Mark Hutchinson and Ismail Yakubu not finishing the race in 6th. But those are the results in P1 Pro. But yeah, awesome race. P1 AM, Lucky Brown of course taking the win, Arius Yamantis in second, then Drozda only just managed to hold off Drozda's in the background. Oh, someone's been turned on the Mulsanne straight, but Fabio Figuccio in 4th, Daniel Sibisavo just behind in 5th, and then Matt James 7 laps down. He unfortunately didn't finish either, but yeah, well, I don't know what's happening in the background of the shot there.
Yeah, let's ignore that. Yeah, here's your rundown, and have a look at that. Top 6, RLR and Brazil Esports, just sheer utter domination today. Jakub Viderka takes the win ahead of Maciek Mlinek. Daniel Bucher is third, Seb Teunissen in fourth, and Krzysztof Skorupski and Arkadiusz Neumann in sixth. Matteo Graziano, and then James Holman, Matteo Calistani, Ivo Laubscher, Bruno Aguirre, Julian Bell, Marcel van der Berg, Matty Chambers, Brian Cavito, Mark Sweethoff, David Ward, and Luke Pennington in 18th. Matteo Graziano was the other driver who stayed in there, and Ryan Littlemore was the only non-finisher from that one after his accident at the Mulsanne corner. And then P2AM, a new winner, Jason Marakel, the Frenchman, taking the win ahead of Tim Perry, Craig Jones and Joust Baumeister, Jonathan Keane and Corey Edwards, Shane Dunn, Marcel Leclerc, Ryan Epperingham and Alex Moore, then Nathan Healy, Michael Seal, and then all these are all DNFs, Michael Seal, Kevin Kittleman, David Nichols, Liam Rance, Jackson Bell, and Lee Balmer, securing a DNF for themselves. So, we're standing by the try-in here from our race. Actually, we do have one. Lennart Rart standing by in the interview waiting area, and I know he wasn't actually quite expecting to win today, but we're going to have a quick word with him now as we drag him in to have a chat. Lennart, welcome back into the commentary box. We spoke last week, and you weren't too sure of your chances of at Le Mans, but managing to convert it, make it with that sensational double overtake, a nice boost saving, and it all paid off for you in the end.
Yeah, I gotta say, first thing, this is all because of Lewis. I didn't have the pace to catch Alex after our, well, I can only call it strategy disaster. We planned to go into the pits earlier than Alex to avoid a bit of traffic, but it didn't work out at all, and we've lost, I think, like 5 seconds in the traffic. And without Lewis, we wouldn't have been able to drag back the gap and get into the draft of Alex. So I'm still shaking after this race. This was high intense stuff.
Yeah, it really was, especially from our end as well. But yeah, obviously the Audi and the Porsche have their differences in the boost kind of application. So what was your kind of strategy towards the end? Was just to sit behind the both of them, save up the boost, and go for it when you knew you could? Because you went past as if the Audis were standing still heading into the Porsche curve. So how important was it to make sure that you had enough boost to get past them and clear them?
To be perfectly honest, it was kind of like unexpected, because I was just trying to follow Lewis, and after following for such a long time in the race and in practice, I knew how he boosted. So I just boosted in such a way that I could keep up in the draft. And I always have more boost coming out of Arnage into the Porsche curves. And in this particular lap, like usually I'm at 73% deploy, but this time I was at 60%. So I had quite a lot more energy, and I just hold down the boost button and came up on voice and said coming through, so Lewis wouldn't move over, because like he probably didn't expect it as well. So it was surprising, but in the end it worked out. And then Alex and Lewis got a bit unlucky with traffic, and the gap opened up, and I was able to manage that towards the end.
Yeah, obviously something else surprising. Were you a little bit surprised seeing the pace truck out front at the start of the race? We don't often see it out there.
Yeah, a bit, but well, some changes from the official service, and it did a good job.
Yeah, we think so too. So obviously 2 wins in a row now, Lennart. So you should be in with a chance of securing the championship now. What's your thoughts heading into next week?
Oh well, I can't even remember where we are next week. I think, where are we next week? Can you tell me?
Spa.
I forgot. Oh god. Yeah, I'll try my best. That's all I'm gonna say for Spa. And for the championship, Alex is still in the lead, and he keeps finishing in good positions. So we'll just see on a race-to-race basis, and well, take the chances we get, and maybe we can convert it into something. But yeah, we'll have to wait for the actual race day.
Excellent stuff. Well, Leonard, thanks for joining us as always. Is there anyone before we let you go that you'd like to say a quick thank you to while we're on Apex Racing TV?
Definitely to Lewis. Again, without him, I wouldn't have had a chance. Not a chance.
Excellent. Well, Leonard, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on your victory, and we'll see you next week.
I hope so. Bye.
Bye. So that was Leonard Rart, our race winner, and standing by, we have Alex Salmon standing by for you, Dane.
Yeah, and he joins us now. Alex, welcome. A pretty intense race, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, that was as far as Le Mans goes. That was that was pretty exciting. That was a lot to pack into an hour.
It certainly was. He had us off our seats, every man on the edge of our seats, completely off our seats, Jack and I, for the last, must have been 20 minutes of the race. After your pit stop, before the pit stop, it was good. But after the pit stop, were you surprised to come out so far ahead of the other two?
Well, to be fair, I've got to give all credit to Taylor for that one. She was spotting me through that. And I wasn't surprised once we came out because I knew that it was going to be close, but we thought we were gonna get them. We just had to look at the traffic patterns, and it's kind of difficult because the P2s are so ranged in pace. But yeah, having Taylor as my eye in the sky there was awesome because I kind of knew how hard I had to push on that last in lap to be able to get the gap because we weren't going to do it when we started that lap. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's always helpful having a spotter, especially in multi-class races, especially with pit strategy and all of that. But yeah, you came out in front and then you managed to hold the gap to them for a while, but then near the end that gap came down and then you were involved in a massive battle with Lewis once again. You can't seem to get enough of each other. You know this.
yeah. I mean, he's an old teammate, so yeah, we know how to race each other, and we show it. I think a bit of a shame about the little netcode touch at the end. I don't really know what happened there. It was just there seemed like half a meter between the cars, and he pings off, unfortunately, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, the battle was crazy. RLR like knocked it out of the park with the set this week. I was up till like 1:30, 2 in the morning last night, panicking, trying to build a setup because we were not fast. And yeah, I just had to work really hard to get that from them. They did awesome. So yeah, really good job for them. I'm just glad I managed to split them and keep in the fight, which is awesome.
Hey, definitely keeping in the fight. You came into the round with a bit of a lead up in the championship. I think you probably retained that lead, although it'll be a little bit smaller now over Leonard, at least. But you should be feeling fairly confident heading into the final couple of rounds. Spa next week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Spa is going to be an interesting one. I think we're probably going to be quite similar pace. I think RLR might be able to get the edge on me again. I think they've got a few more eggheads there than I have. But yeah, it's good. I think it'll be good. It's just a maths game really. With drop scores and stuff, I've just got to make sure I can keep a gap. Make sure we come out the last round with a gap. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see what happens out on the front. It's been great speaking with you, Alex. Thanks for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just Taylor again. Taylor Mills for being an awesome spotter there. That was amazing. And yeah, all the OCM guys who have helped me this week. It's been awesome. So yeah, thanks.
Well, thanks so much, Alex, and we'll see you next week at Spa.
Brilliant. See you.
So now, finally, lined up for myself is our P1 AM Victor, Lucky Brown. Lucky, welcome in. We didn't see too much of you on the broadcast because of how crazy P1 Pro was, but talk us through your race. You had a bit of a quiet one, but coming out with a victory.
Yeah, it was good. It was had a bit of fun watching the top three for the first few laps before they gapped me by about 10 seconds because they're that bloody quick. But yeah, managed to keep it out of trouble, which is always good. Yeah, had a quiet cruise around the French countryside.
Was it a bit easier to negotiate the P2s this week compared to Road America? I think think Road America was a bit narrower, so was it a bit of a relief to have the long straights to get past the traffic?
Yeah, and the turns are a lot easier to get through as well. It's a bit faster. You can use the downforce more on the LMP1 and get around the outside easier. And yeah, the extra speed, and because of the LMP had its power reduced before Daytona, that helps as well. Get past down the straight. So yeah, it was quite a bit easier. Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Spa next week, which is going to be an interesting one, we think. What's your own thoughts heading into that one?
I'm glad there's only one Audi in the M class. That's because it's going to be way faster than the Porsche, I feel. With the high downforce setting, the Audi's incredibly quick, so I'm glad there's no Audis in our class. So
yeah, it's what we're looking at. We're going to look out for that at least. Yeah, look, just before you let it go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thank you to while we're on stream on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, just a shout out to sponsors Sim Racing Coin and MaxFast for supporting the team over the last year. It's been good to have some support from outside the team.
Excellent. Well, look, congratulations on the victory in P1am. We'll see you, or hopefully be chatting to you next week after Spa.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Yeah, Lucky Brown there, obviously very enthusiastic about his chances heading into next week at Spa. But yeah, it's been a fantastic race tonight, and really looking forward to Spa next week. I'm not sure if the drivers are, but I think we certainly are here on Apex Racing TV. But that's going to be it from us for tonight. It's been a pleasure bringing you all the action here on Apex Racing TV. Of course, big thanks to SDK Gaming, of course, for providing the graphics, and to Dane for joining me as always, and to Marco for providing the action, doing all the cameras for us as well. And we will see you at the same time next week for the 5th round of the championship. The second to last round is going to be from Belgium in Spa. So we'll see you then. Thank you, and good night.